KC9VKV, Jim, are you out there? KC9 Victor, King Victor, KC9VKV. This is K1GZL calling and standing by.
Roger, Roger, Charlie. Got you loud and clear on my local mag loop at about 12 over on the local mag loop, Roger.
Yeah, you're 15 over. Excellent copy, Jim. So I guess it's time for your group, to get together probably in about, 30 seconds to get together.
So, winter is here, but I'll explain that after we get started. You sound great. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie, could you give me about 10 seconds more audio? I'm adjusting the Milford SDR frequency.
Oh, you want me to transmit?
Roger.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not sure how short the skip is, but this is standard time. The sun gets lower and the skip gets longer. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. How was that, Jim?
Roger, I'm compensating 09 for this SDR, Roger.
Okay, which is better, direct on the loops or
Milford?
Probably through Milford. It's a little quieter. I guess you're about 20 over there.
Oh, I guess that's the one to use.
Yes, Roger. Okay, stand by. And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and this is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. From now until 5, we record live, and if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We're recording now, and then we'll post it up on YouTube, so later you can come by and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. Also today, we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring Rochester, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Alexandria, Virginia, and Milford, Pennsylvania, trying to get a better copy on our 100-watt friends. The audio of these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary switch. Also on the switch is our local receiver. And today, our local receiver is running 2 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed north and south, the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated. They are selected by a 3-position rotary switch. Position 3 is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves. Well, those are our operating conditions. How about yours? This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network, and right now we'll check in and see if Charlie K1GZL is on frequency. Charlie?
Yeah. Hi, Jim. The KC9VKV on a day where we've had off and on periods of snow, which started at around 11 o'clock this morning. Sort of a dry, fluffy snow. And 30 degrees out right now. Boy, it's so warm compared to a few days ago when the temperature was 0 and we got up to 10 degrees for a high. It was bitter, but right now it's very comfortable out, although we have an Arctic blast coming through here in the next couple of hours, and it's going down near 0 tonight. And we'll have additional snow showers or squalls. Then a lot of bad weather coming up around Monday night and Tuesday, which part of that might be freezing rain. I'm holding my breath. That does not happen. Okay, Jim, real fine. The conditions into Australia this morning were very, very good on 40 meters. Excellent. In fact, just give you a few seconds of Ian as he turned it over.
K1GZL, KN4GBZ, WA30, Victor Kilo 3 Mike Oscar, clearing QRT.
Okay, back to you, Jim. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Roger. Well, I think you've got a transatlantic line down to Australia. I mean, those transmissions are just so clean. And do you have any fading at all, Roger?
Well, yeah, there's always some QSO-V, but let me tell you an interesting thing that happened about 3 days ago. Conditions were so good, so utterly good into Australia that I decided to try a low power check. I shut off the amplifier, and my drive power was 40 watts, and I was still 10 over, so I said, Ian, I'm going to cut the power. I'm going to cut it down. Let's see how far you can copy. And here Ian's 30 degrees off the side of me. I cannot aim my antenna directly at Australia because the way things are set up. So I cut the power down, and I got down to 1 watt, down to a half a watt. And he copied very well. Q5, solid copy on a half a watt. So on the lowest position you can get on a 7300 is a half a watt. And he copied that solid. So I said, well, I'm going down further. And I was able to cut the audio way back to about 1/5 or less of a half a watt. And that puts it down to about 100 milliwatts. And Jim said, it's getting a little bit marginal, Charlie, but if I didn't have the noise, slight noise on frequency, I would have copied you in milliwatts. So that was a thrill to me. And gee whiz, I'm not even aimed directly at Australia, but boy, when propagation is good, you can get away with murder. However, when you get sporadic E, the E layer being half the height of the F layer, that does inhibit a lot of the signal from hitting the F layer, so it's not as strong. But on both ends of the line, there was no sporadic E, and it worked perfect. Go ahead.
Oh, Roger, and I've often said, current conditions on 40 meters are such that 100 watts and 400 miles will usually get you about 2 dB over somebody's noise level, usually at this current state on 40 meters. But I'm asking you now, as someone that's had a great deal of experience, have you ever known a time where 100 watts would get you a 10 over at 400 miles?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Many times, Jim. 100 watts will do very well at 100 watts. 1 watt. 1 watt will do well if you get the right propagation. I will never forget the time back around 1949 or 50. I got my license as W2 Zebra George in Elizabeth, New Jersey, in the fall of 1948. But I'll never forget the time when, of course, 10 meters was hotter than a pistol in those days. And George 2 Pacific United, Cambridge in England, was just blasted. I had a dipole up about 20 feet at the time in Elizabeth, New Jersey. I was 15 air miles southwest of the Empire State Building in New York.
Frequencies in use, please.
PU was so strong, it was causing flight lines on Channel 2, CBS out of New York, which comes off the Empire State Building. So that was absolutely unbelievable. And his name was Sant. And yet, when I saw Ian in person, VK3MO, who you just heard on my tape, he says, I was talking about that. He says, oh, I've met Sant. My gosh, he met him. I met Sant. And he's just a little guy, but can you imagine a signal on 10 meters around 1949 or 50 being so strong that it was causing flight lines on Channel 2 out of New York, 15 air miles away, and if I could have gone above my house, I would have seen the Empire State Building. Go ahead.
Roger. Well, FYI, you're now doing me looks about 17 dB over my local noise level. I'm running my two 10-foot mag loops in co-phase, and they are just outstanding as far as copying the mail up your way. Roger.
Okay, very fine, and I'm copying you also very well, and here it is.
One that's had a great deal of experience. Have you ever known a time where 100 watts would get you a 10 over at 400 miles?
Okay, Jim, go ahead. K1GZL.
Roger. Well, Charlie, I appreciate checking in and letting us know what's going on the band, propagation-wise and weather-wise in your locale up around. How far again are you from the Canadian border?
Okay, 4 air miles, Jim. I'm 4 air miles east and southeast of the Quebec border. I'm or 21,000 feet. 21,000 feet from the Canadian border of Quebec. Go ahead.
Roger that, Charlie. Roger that. So you're almost in Canada. You almost speak with a Canadian accent. If you get much closer, you'll be saying, "What is?" Gosh, I forget what it is now. They say. That's right. Hey, and there's another. Is that a female out there? The frequency is in use. But anyway, Charlie, let me say threes to you up there, and you stay warm, Roger.
I'm going to try. Tomorrow's high temperature will be about 15 degrees. The normal high now tomorrow is about 39. This is something else, but no snow fell in October, and so far we've had a total of 21 inches for the season so far. And we're still behind normal for this time of the year because we had nothing in October. Although winter is, a month away, at least the first official day. Okay, 73s to you also, Jim. Hope to catch you next week. And you're doing a marvelous job up here. You are peaking up to 25 over. A couple transmissions ago, direct there from near Louisville. 73, Jim. Catch you tomorrow. Next week. KC9VKV, K1GZL, Clarksville, Northern New Hampshire.
145, Charlie WA30. Go to 145.
Okay, Mike.
This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor and the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. And that was Charlie K1GZL with a little propagation information and weather information. And it's always good to start the day on the network knowing what we can expect condition-wise. So it looks pretty good today, so we shall see. We're recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll post it then we'll post this recording on YouTube in the next couple of days. So when you go to YouTube, all you have to do is do a call letter search for KC9VKV, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And we have about 800 some odd QSO-VLOGs. But on that page, you'll be looking for one QSO in particular, and it will be entitled My Group Aircheck 11/15/19. Today's date. My Group Aircheck 11/15/19. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor listening.
Kilo 2 Alpha Delta Alpha.
Kilo 2 station, come back with the call sign again, please.
Kilo 2 Alpha Delta Alpha.
Alpha Delta Alpha. What's the name, please?
The name is Andy, and good afternoon, Jim. I'm hoping that you can help me dial in this 7300 for the contest weekend. Want to make sure I have good audio for the contest this weekend. What can you do?
Well, it's, again, we start with the compressor at about a 3. Is your compressor on and at a 3?
It is now on and at 3.
Okay, that is the beginning of our setup. It's just a token amount, but it is just that exact amount that we need to resolve at the end of our setup with a 3 dB dynamic range, which means your average percent of peak modulation will be 80 to 85%. Now go to your ALC and make sure that your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3.
Okay, Jim. Well, it's I would say it's more like about 6/8, maybe 8/10. It's a little higher than half. Is it? Are you detecting any distortion?
Yes, I am, just slightly, ever so slightly. That's why I recommend the mid-scale to 2/3. That is the quiet zone as far as distortion is concerned. Roger, Roger.
Okay, so I'll bring the mic gain down a little bit. Well, I bring the mic gain down and it stays the same place.
Well, just keep bringing the mic gain down. You want to not push the red. You don't want to be headed towards the red. And I have found the sweet spot is halfway between mid-scale and 2/3. Roger.
Okay, very good. Well, let's see if I can keep turning it down. This is all the way down to 20. How is this? Is this sounding okay?
All right. Now make sure that your compressor is set at a 3. What we're saying there is we want that compressor running to about 1/3 of its possibilities. You know.
Okay, I have the compressor at 3. I'm going to try to back that down to 2 and see if I can get the ALC down a little bit. It's still pretty high. What do you think about this?
I would leave the compressor at 3 and back the mic gain down. You want to try to utilize that compressor if you can. So, what is your mic level?
The mic level right now is down to 14%. Here it is at 6%. 6% right now. 6%. I'm barely tickling the compressor. Here it is at 11%.
Yeah, take it. What are your nomenclature, mic readings? What is your input level sequence numbers?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that question.
Okay, on your mic gain, how is it laid out? 1 to 10, 1 to 100?
The 7300 goes up to 100.
Okay, so put that on about a 30. Put that on about a 30.
Okay, 30% right there.
Okay, and now your compressor is engaged and at about a 3 or so, Roger?
Indeed it is. This is the compressor off, no compression, no compression. And this is the compressor on at 3. It is on at 3.
Sounds a little hot at 3, so I would bring that mic gain back to about a 20, I guess. What kind of mic is it? Seems to be a hot mic.
It's a Heil headset, Pro set, with the HC6.
Okay, so you have a boom mic on that, Roger?
Indeed I do, yes.
Okay, I would move that boom mic out about an inch further out from your mouth if possible.
Okay, it's out about an inch.
All right, and now let's see, review. We are at a 3 on the compressor, and we're at a 20 on the mic gain, and we're at mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC, Roger?
No, the ALC is still a little high. It's not into the red, but it's still at about 80%, I would say.
Okay, let's see, how can you go further out than 1 inch? Can you go to 1.5 inches?
Yeah, there it is, a little further away.
All right, now, again, your compressor, your limiter is set at a 3. Your compressor is now reading what? I mean, your ALC is reading what?
About the same, doesn't change too much. That's compression at 3. Here is compression at 2, and it's barely showing any compression at all. If I go to 3, here is, it's only showing about 5% compression at this point.
Roger. Well, what I'm thinking is that boom mic is pretty hot if you're down around a 10 or so, whereas, normal desk mic, you would be, what, at 30 or 40? As far as mic gain?
Well, let's see if I can. Here is the mic gain at 10 with the boom mic about a minute. Well, it's I would say it's an inch and a half, 2 inches away. The compressor is on at 3, but it's almost not showing any compression at this point.
Roger. Yeah, I would keep that compressor at a 3. Regardless, I would leave that compressor at a 3 because that's the only processing that you're going to get. Obviously because the ALC is running hot. What is your output power? What is your RF output power?
I'm running about 20 watts of output power into a SPE amplifier that's at about 900 watts.
Roger. I'm sure that running. Could you do this? Do me a favor. Dump your power amp, and come on up with your RF to max to 100 watts. Roger.
Okay. Stand by 1 moment.
This is an experiment.
Okay, here we are at 100 watts, mic gain at 20, compression at 3.
All right, what's your ALC reading?
It's the same, it's right at about 80%.
Huh. I would have thought that there would be a disparity maybe between running lower power and running your maximum. But anyway, go ahead back with your other normal situation there, 20 watts drive, whatever.
Here's 20 watts of drive without the amplifier. Don't put the amplifier. Okay, here's 20 watts of drive, and looks like about 950 watts.
Oh, roger that. Well, you got to stay within the parameters that the radio gives you. You don't want to be in the red on the ALC. So I would, my standard thing would be mid-scale to 2/3, put her there, and run a 3 on your compressor, and just, you've backed off on the mic, so you should be able to run a 10 or 15 on your audio gain, Roger.
Okay, very good. That's about where it is. How about the tone? Is the tone okay, Jim?
It's all right, but, if you could get a little more top end, like if you went to your tone control and cranked in 3 dB boost on treble, I would like to hear that.
Yeah, I think I'm already above that. I'm running narrow, 300 to 2900, and let me see where the tone control is. I have the treble control at +3 and the bass at -2.
Roger, I would come on up on the top end because you're talking about the syllabic range there. You are running 100 to 2900. Roger.
Negative. I'm running 300 to 2900.
But anyway, you are running 2900 on the top end. Normally, that radio works great at 100 to 2900, and then roll off the bottom end on the EQ. Roger.
Okay, here is 100 to 2900, -2 on the bass, +5 on the treble.
All right, and tell me about your antenna system.
The antenna system is a JK mid-tri 40, 2 elements on this band, and as I said, I'm also running about 900 watts of power.
Roger. I would roll 1 on the bottom end, roll 1 more on the bottom end from where you are. Roger.
Okay, that's a -3 on the bass, -3.
All right, and tell me the best thing you like about your 7300.
I like the simplicity and the menuing. Initially, when I got the radio, it took me a moment to figure it out, but now it seems like everything is pretty easy to access on the fly. Go ahead.
Roger. Okay, your dynamic range looks to be about 3 dB, but you should consult your ALC to be sure that you're not overdriving that. Roger.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and it looks pretty much the same as what we started with.
Okay, but you're out of the red. Roger.
Oh, indeed. Yeah, it is below the red.
All right, I would check forward with it. Like I say, you cranked in that additional top end, so that's helping you a little bit as far as your audio curve, Roger.
Okay, great. Do I need to adjust the bass downward one more click? That's all I have left.
No, I would leave it just like it is. It's right between QSO and competition, Roger.
And that's where I'd love to have it be. And it looks like everything is within. And you're saying there's no distortion at this point, right?
Very little, very little. I realize that you're running just a tad hot on the ALC, but under those conditions, I don't hear any glaring distortion, Roger.
Excellent. Jim, thanks so much for your input and your experienced ears. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend, and thanks again. K2ADA.
Roger. What was the name there again?
His name is Andy.
Roger, Andy. I would say, probably keep your ALC up and be able to watch it for a while, because if you forget, I know you're working that boom mic further than what you would normally have been working it. So in case you might forget, your ALC would remind you. So if it wouldn't be a problem, I would keep the ALC up for a little while. As you get used to your distance from mic.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I'll leave it exactly where it is, and I can change the screen and have the ALC up all the time.
Roger. The other thing, and I've been also espousing this for a little while, and that is to position your watt meter in such a way that you can see it as you speak, and try to keep the watt meter, put it in a PEP so it's moving a little faster than normal, and use it as a VU meter, and try to keep that meter running in the sweet spot with your voice level, Roger.
Roger, indeed, and I have a nice dial watt meter that does have the PEP function, and I can do that. Matter of fact, I'm looking at it right now. It looks pretty good.
Roger. Now, don't pull it close to you, because you don't want that RF close to your microphone. But I mean, if you can see it where it normally is, that's great. And that will challenge you to maximize your audio capabilities through your own hard work.
Indeed. Thank you again so much. I really appreciate it. 73 is K2ADA.
Roger, Andy 3's that way, sir. Have a great afternoon, a beautiful weekend. This is KC9VKV and the QSO-VLOG network. I'm better known in some circles as Dr. VKV. I won't say in what circles, but anyway, we are recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. KC9VKV listening. There's a W3 station out there.
W3 Papa Charlie Foxtrot.
W3 Papa. Give me the whole thing phonetically slowly, please.
Whiskey 3 Papa Charlie Foxtrot.
Roger. What's the name, please, sir?
Handle is Randy, Richard, Adam, Nancy, David, yesterday.
Okay, Randy, looking at your signal, you are very unprocessed. You're running almost no processing, so your average peak modulation is, let's see, your 10 dB dynamic range with an average peak modulation of about 30%. I'm saying 30% average. So what we want to do, if you would be interested, would be to fatten your audio up a little bit, Roger.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Unfortunately, I'm mobile right now to be able to do much tuning.
All righty. Well, that kind of reduces the possibilities there. Would you have a paper and pencil, and I could give you some notes?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I'm assuming your radio would have a compressor?
It's a Yaesu FT857 Delta, so I'm not sure about that.
I say, well, if your radio does have a compressor, engage it and put it at about a 3. Run it engaged at about a 3. Roger?
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
All right. Then move to your ALC meter, and with your mic gain in hand, adjust your ALC level to where your meter is running mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC meter with the adjustment on your using your mic gain.
Okay. I have a friend writing this down for me as I drive, so we're keeping up with you.
All right. And then, does that radio have EQ, or do you know?
I believe it does.
Okay, if it does have EQ, I would crank a couple of dB more on the top end from where you are. 2 dB additional clicks from where you are on the EQ top end treble.
Okay, got that.
Alrighty, and then give me a shout and we'll see what you sound like, Roger.
Okay, we'll try to get that done, and I'll see if you're still in the air.
All right, sir. Just give me a shout. You should be about 2 to 3 times louder, apparent louder than what you are, Roger.
Roger, thank you.
Roger. And what was the name there again, please?
Handle is Randy. Richard, Adam, Nancy, David,
Roger. I forgot the Y when I wrote it down, so I was trying to figure out what is his name. All right, 3s for now, and give me a shot later when you get all that cranked in. This is KC9VKV in the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. KC9VKV listening.
November 2, Bravo, Uniform Echo.
November 2, Bravo something?
Yeah, November 2, Boston United Easy. N2 BUE. The name is Ron. Over.
Roger, Ron. I have a pin that's trying to not fly right, and the other one is, whoops, I just hit something there. Hang on just a second. Let me see exactly where I am. All right, everything looks all right. So, Ron, whereabouts are you, sir?
The state, New Jersey, and the name of the town is Gibbstown, New Jersey. I have spoken to you before, but it has been quite a while, and nothing really has changed. I'm still running the IC 7300, 781 microphone, and AL80B, about 500 watts. Up to an inverted V, cut for 40. You got a nice signal coming in here today, Jim? You sound very good. Over.
Roger, Ron. Thank you, sir. And are you running your, I'm just looking at your dynamic range. You look to be maybe just a little loose. Are you running your compressor engaged at about a 3?
Yes, Jim. The compressor's at a 3. I think, I recall the bass is -2. And the treble is probably about a +2 or 3.
Roger, and bring your ALC up, and let's see where your average, if you're running between mid-scale and 2/3 on your ALC.
Oh, yes. Maybe get 2/3. More. What half, Jim?
Well, let's see. I just brought you up on the Rochester SDR. You're much stronger on Rochester SDR, but there is somebody with fun and games with a chirper or something on the frequency. Gosh, you know, it's getting more and more difficult to be able to communicate because there are folks that do have some bolts loose in their brain assembly.
I was just down frequency a little bit ago. There's a DX station coming in. And I can't get over the people are tuning up right on top. It's just unbelievable.
Roger, Roger. Well, that whoever's doing that is they're in the New York area somewhere in there, and they're running, looks like less than 100 watts or right at 100 watts, maybe 50 watts, I don't know. They're not affecting my local antenna at all, but they are giving the Rochester SDR a little QRM, Roger.
Okay, very good. All right, just wanted to touch base with you. I'll pass 73 along to you. You have a good evening, and keep up the good work, Jim. Good talking to you. KC9VKV, N2BUE, catch you again. Bye.
Roger, Roger, around 3 Z-Way, sir. Audio sounding good. Your EQ curve is perfect. I like that. Just be a matter of checking with your ALC to be sure you're running mid-scale to 2/3, so you might be just a little fatter if that could stand a little more drive, but that would be with your mic gain controlling where that ALC meter runs. And again, mid-scale to 2/3 is optimum. Should give you 80 to 85% peak modulation, average peak modulation, and about a 3 dB curve there, dynamic range. So 3's Ron, have a great afternoon, beautiful weekend. This is KC9VKV on the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. My name is Jim, and we are recording now live till 5. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Whiskey Delta 4, Bravo, Bravo, Bravo.
Whiskey Delta 4, Bravo, Bravo. Well, let's see here. What's the name, sir?
It's Triple Bravo. It's Bravo, Bravo, Bravo. The name is Brian. Bravo, Romeo, India, Alpha, November.
Okay, Brian, you're really hot, buddy. You need to, do you know how to get to your ALC meter? Bring your ALC meter up?
I've got it up right now. It's not even come up to a quarter high.
Okay, then I would back off tremendously on your compressor. What we normally suggest is about a 3 on your compressor, about a 3 of its capabilities, about a third of its capabilities, Roger.
The compressor goes up to like 100 on the, well, it's the processor. I can't adjust the compressor directly, it does the processor, and I go to 0 to 100. It's set for 3 right now.
Well, gosh, if it goes to, do you have, what is your mic gain set at?
Give me 1 second. It was set for about 75%.
Okay, do you have numbers on that mic gain?
Yeah, I just turned it down to like 60%.
Come on down some more.
That's down to 50% right now.
Okay, and I tell you what, turn your compressor off. If you can, just turn your compressor off and let me hear you without it.
All right, there's no compressor at all right now.
Okay, so you're still looking hot, so I would say your ALC is still warm. I would bring that mic gain down some more.
It's down to 40% right now, 40%.
All right, right there is a typical unprocessed audio, very clean. I would leave the mic gain right there, and now I would put my compressor back in.
All right, that's with like 3% compressor right there.
You're saying 3% or 30 out of 100 or 3 out of 10?
Actually, it's 3 out of 100. 3 out of 100.
Is that right? Okay, we'll bring it up to 30. Let me hear it at 30 out of 100.
All right, that's 30 out of 100.
All right, bring your mic gain down some more. What is your mic gain level now?
Mic gain was at 39.
All right, go for 25.
All right, that's 25% on the mic gain and at 30 on the compressor.
Okay, so let me just give you an example. You are now running about a 2.5 dB dynamic range, and your audio average percent of peak modulation is somewhere around 85 to 90%. So you sound really pushed, even at that mic level. So what I would suggest would be to bring her down just a tad more, just a couple of clicks more down on the mic gain.
All right, that's a 22% on the mic, 22 out of 100.
All right, and I would just FYI advise that at your earliest possible convenience, go ahead and get you a windscreen, a foam windscreen to put over that mic, because I'm hearing a lot of breath noise, and you sound like you might be just a tad close to that mic. Try pulling off that mic about 2-3 inches, about 3 inches.
Yeah, I was probably doing about 2 inches before. Right now, I feel about 3 inches away now. It's moved about another inch away. That makes a difference.
Ah, boy, it's sounding cleaner. Now, do you know where your top end EQ is, or where your EQ adjustments are?
I do, yes.
All right, go to your EQ and crank in about 2 dB more top end EQ. About 2 dB additional EQ boost from where you are.
I've got 3 different levels I can set. You want me to change the highest level?
Treble, yes, that will be the top. You have 3 EQ control, is that a Roger?
It's already at 10 out of 10, so let me turn the other ones down a little bit.
No, just leave them and tell me about your antenna system first. Give me about 15 seconds on your antenna system.
I have a 80-meter end-fed half wave that's set up as an inverted V. The middle is about 50 feet up in the air.
I think we just leave it there for right now. It sounds a whole lot better than where we started. It's not jammed up against the wall and sounding like you're trying to reach the spaceship on the other side of the Earth in an emergency, Roger.
Yeah, copy that. I wanted to make sure I wasn't too wide and splattering or anything. Like I said, I set the equalizer things based on something I've seen on the internet that one particular gentleman takes, but that doesn't mean it's correct.
Roger, it sounds good, and you are running in your widest possible condition there, 100 to 2900, Roger?
What do you mean by the 100 to 2900?
Your bandpass, your bandpass, you have options there. Are you set to 100 to 2900?
If you're talking on the equalizer, I think the lowest one is set for 300. Let me check the top.
Yeah, don't do anything. I was not talking about EQ. I was talking about your operational bandpass for the radio. They have different options that you can run wider band or narrow band or narrower band. I would suggest running the most radios at 100 to 2900. I'm sorry. If you consulted, do you have your book on that radio?
But I can see what it is.
I'm sorry, we doubled. Do you have a book on that radio? And if you do, look at your bandpass configurations, and you want to be in 100 to 2900.
I'm looking at the manual right now.
Roger, Brian. Well, let me let you look at that for a while and take some notes. That's the best way to do that when you're reading the book. Just jot out some notes so you don't have to read the book every time. And like say, 100 to 2900 is my choice for operating, a radio. And again, the compressor set at 3. Make note of where your mic gain is. And remember, you want to run your ALC mid-scale to 2/3, and that adjustment is made by adjusting your mic gain. Roger?
Copy that. And yeah, it's set for 200 to 2800 is what it's set for.
All right. You want to go to the one above that. 100 to 2900, and you want to just run your radio at that. There's no reason for you to run your radio less than 100 to 2900. You're just hurting yourself and losing the top end of your audio when you run it at less than 100 to 2900.
Copy that. I made the change. I appreciate you spending the time to help me out. Thank you much, and you have a good one.
Roger. Now you still sound a little warm. I would keep my ALC meter up for a while and observe it as you speak. And you want to run that ALC meter at mid-scale to 2/3 by way of adjusting the mic level. Roger. Keep your compressor engaged at 3.
All right. Yeah, I think I got a little closer to the mic again that time too, so I might have made it a little stronger.
Roger. So that's why you want to run in your ALC mode so you can see things like that. Roger.
Will do. Thank you much. And 73 Whiskey Delta 4. Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Roger, Roger, Brian. 3's that away, sir. Have a good afternoon. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you have a radio you want to check out, we are recording now live till 5, and then we'll post it up on YouTube. So if you want to hear what your radio sounds like, you would go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. That would take you to our QSO-VLOG page. We're running about 810 QSOs at the moment, but you'll be looking for one in particular, and that's one entitled My Group Aircheck 111519. My Group Aircheck 111519. This is the KC9VKV QSO-VLOG network.
Kilowatt 0, Foxtrot, Charlie, X-ray, Juliet.
There was something, a zero in there. What's that call sign, please?
Yeah, no problem. It's Kilowatt 0, Foxtrot, Charlie, Lima. Kilo 0, Fox, Charlie, Lima. The name is Conrad in Kansas. Excuse me.
I'm sorry, what's the name again?
Conrad.
Phonetically spelling, please.
Comrade, Charlie, Oscar, November, Romeo, Alpha, Delta.
Conrad, is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes, sir. And whereabouts are you located, sir?
Eureka, Kansas. Kilo Sierra.
Well, I usually don't go to Kansas. I'm looking for Dorothy when I go to Kansas. Gosh, you're sounding really good, sir. You're coming in. I'm copying the mail on 2 10-foot magnetic loop antennas. I have 2. One's oriented east and west, one's north and south, and sometimes I do put them in the co-phase position where I'm copying the mail on both of them, which I am doing right at the moment, and it looks like you're about a 10 over coming in from Kansas, Roger.
Yeah, very good. Well, you're about 10 to 15 over here yourself, but you're sounding very well. Thank you.
Roger. So, Conrad, tell me about your antenna system, sir. So the frequency's in use. Try again, Conrad.
Somebody else was coming in there with you. What was the question?
Tell me about your antenna system in about 10 seconds.
It's a Alpha Delta DXDD. It's a wire, 4080 meter wire up at 40 feet.
Roger, I was just looking at your audio. Your audio's very good as far as dynamic range. You're running about 4 dB. Usually we shoot for 3, but 4 will do. And your EQ sounds nice also. What radio are you running?
It's the ICOM 7300. As far as I know, that's as wide as it'll go. It's 3 dB. But the microphone may be doing that as well. It's the Heil PR40. They match up pretty good once you know the settings over.
Roger. Yeah, I'm not talking about bandwidth. I was talking about modulation width and dynamic range. Dynamic range is simply a reference to the, it's a ratio of the loudest part of your voice level and the softest part of your voice level, and they call that the dynamic range. And unprocessed voice range is usually 10 dB. A 10 dB dynamic range with unprocessed voice, which if you were to put that on the radio without any processing, 10 dB would translate to about 30% of average peak modulation. And what we're looking for actually is something a little bit fatter than that, so the audio is easier to understand at great distances. So by doing a little work on your compressor and you're adjusting your ALC, we can bring that dynamic range down to about a 3 dB dynamic range, which would be then an average percent of peak modulation between 80 and 85%, which is about 2.5 times louder than what you were when you were unprocessed. Roger?
Oh, I see. Okay, well, very good. Okay, well, okay, thanks for the offer there, but the wife and I need to run real quick. They got a lobster boil going on down at Howard, Kansas, south of here, about 30 miles, and we're going to drive down there and eat some lobster and some crawfish and crab legs and stuff like that. Over.
Oh, shut up. You're making me hungry, and I just love lobster and shrimp, and oh, God, what have you done?
I made you hungry. I apologize. I think they had some red potato, new potatoes, and some corn on the cob, too. I won't worry about it anymore. Have a good day, sir, and thank you for what you're doing. I'm sure you're helping out a lot of people. Have a good day. This is Conrad in Eureka, Kansas, K0FCL73.
Roger, Conrad. Say hello to Dorothy. And I don't know how you knew all my favorite foods. I'm going to look around and see if I got a bug somewhere in the shack, because I think you didn't name any one of those foods that wasn't my favorite. So I don't know if I'll make it to 5 after all. 3s, Conrad. We'll catch you later. Thanks for checking in, buddy. This is KC9VKV in the QSO-VLOG network. If you want to hear what your radio sounds like, we are recording now live till 5.
How about Victor, Quebec? You hear me okay?
Victor, Quebec. Give me all that again phonetically, slowly.
No, absolutely. The full call is Kilo Tango 4 Victor, Quebec. The name's Keith. I'm in Waleska, Georgia. That's north of Atlanta. Over.
Roger. Now, normally I would jump on the Atlanta SDR simply because I'm running that. It's one of my SDRs. I run 4. I run Raleigh, Rochester, New York, in Atlanta, Georgia, and Milford, Pennsylvania, and Arlington, Alexandria, Virginia. And so I use those for folks that are running 100 watts and, trying to get a better copy on them. But I got a real good copy on you, sir, direct. And come back and tell me about your antenna system.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to make sure I get your full call. I didn't catch it earlier as you were speaking with the other gentleman. Antenna system here is very simple. It's been up for almost 23 years now. It's just off-center fed dipole. It's probably 60 foot on one end, 35 on the other, and the center of it with a coax feeds at about 30 foot or so. And, it's 6-to-1 Balin. It just does a great job for me. And, since it's working as well as it is, as long as it has been, I'm not touching it. Over.
Oh, Roger. Just perfect. Your audio, your EQ curve is just great. Your signal strength looks to be about a 12 to 13 over my local noise level. I'm copying you in the co-phase position between 2 10-foot magnetic loop antennas. One of them is oriented east and west, the other north and south, but I can pull them together in co-phase, and the co-phase position gives me about 3 to 4 dB hotter signal than either one of those mag loops by themselves. Roger?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I know that your signal is great, and when you were saying you were doing 2 loops, I thought, well, that's fantastic. Something I need to investigate someday, I suppose. When I have a little more time and a little better weather, we're kind of nasty back here, and I just don't care to get outside and play with any antennas at all at the moment. Help me with your full call again, and where are you located?
Roger. The call is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, KC9VKV. The name is Jim, Juliet India Mike, and we are located just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky. I can see downtown Louisville from here about 3 miles away. Roger?
Oh, yeah, well, fantastic. Well, that's great. I generally have a pretty good copy on such of your direction, and Actually, it's a pretty good pipeline from the Illinois, Michigan area, down through Florida, and a little bit. Although I shocked last night that I had just an excellent copy on a gentleman in Washington on 40 meter in the evening, and we chatted for quite some time till the changed, which, by the way, is changing for you. You fell off to about a S7 or so, which was quite a shock to see that happening to you when you've been well over F9. So I guess the band is going to change.
Roger, yeah, and I had to go to Milford, PA SDR to copy you, so we did. Mother Nature pulled the plug between us, but we outsmarted them thanks to SDRs, and I do have a chirper on the Atlanta SDR. You'd be blowing me away with that Atlanta SDR, but there is interference in that area on that. Do you copy that kind of chirper sound on this frequency in your area?
I hear it every so often. I watch it on the waterfall, and I see it coming left or right, of course, and it makes it swing.
Roger that. Roger that. All right, let me jump out of here, sir. Sounding great, man. Get the duct tape. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Get the Gorilla tape and tape everything down just where it is, Roger.
Well, I appreciate your comments. That's fantastic. SICOM 7300, and once we set it up, I've just not touched it ever since. It usually gets reasonably good reports. So really no point in touching it, I don't guess. Hey, I hope you have a great day. Sorry the band changed. I'd love to chat with you some more. Sounds like you got some great equipment up there I'd like to learn more about, but the band is changing. See you around, Jim. Thanks for the QSO. KT4, goodbye.
Roger, Roger. And FYI, we are transmitting on our dipole. We are transmitting on our dipole. We went through this whole thing about orientation of the magnetic loops and a lot of experimentation, but we did find that the dipole, by and large, most of the time was hotter in the transmit mode than the mag loops. So we use the mag loops mainly in the receive mode, and like I say, we do have two 10-foot mag loops that we run co-phase a lot, and that gives us a hotter signal usually than the dipole. So 3 is down that way. We'll catch you later. This is KC9VKV.
November 4, Alpha Bravo Tango, N4 ABT.
November 4, AVT, is that right? November 4, AVT, is that a Roger?
November 4, Alpha Bravo Tango. Good afternoon to you, Jim.
Alpha Bravo Tango. All right, let me try to pull back to my local antenna, pull out of Milford and go back to my regular antenna. If you could tell me just a little bit about your antenna system, sir.
Sure. Okay, the antenna here to the east and west. You're a little off to the northeast of my antenna pattern, and it's about 30 feet off the ground. It's 15-meter wire, and right now it's running about a 1.1 or less SWR. Over.
Roger, Roger. And what's the name there again? I'm sorry, what's your name, please? N4 ABT, do you copy?
I'm not hearing anybody. By the way, I'm located about 20 miles north of Memphis, Tennessee. If you need to reorient an antenna or something in my direction, over.
Roger, sounds like I might have faded out to you, sir. Can you copy KC9VKV?
KV? Say again, I had a static crash right on top of you.
Well, gosh, this is KC9VKV. Do you copy?
Yeah, I copy you about an S8, I guess. About an S8. I'm running about 500 watts through Chief Kid SB200 amplifier from a IC7300. Over.
Roger. Go ahead, Lou.
Go ahead, Lou.
I thought I heard my Omer in there. Go ahead, Lou.
Go ahead, Lou.
Can you hear me, Jim?
I'm sorry, I was monitoring Milford, Pennsylvania. Let me go to local. Go ahead.
Antenna trouble.
Do what?
I've got antenna trouble.
Well, gosh, when you want me to come over there and kick some antenna for you?
I just need to build 2 brand new double bazookas. But anyway, I'm running 10 watts. I don't want to interfere with my son's computer system. But let me get off here, so I don't want to interfere with him. But I've tried everything known to man, and I just need to go back with double bazookas. Talk to you later, Jim. I'll holler at you later at 9GTM.
All right, buddy. Give me a shout whenever. We'll get you squared away. We'll come over there with a sledgehammer, and we'll beat those antennas into submission. All right, where were we? How is Tennessee? Tennessee, do you still copy now?
Still copy you. It's still not very strong. I can still copy you. Okay.
Roger, Roger. Okay, I'm copying you on the Milford SDR, Milford PA SDR, and you're sounding beautiful, so your audio is great, and what can I say? You're just jumping over my head down to Pennsylvania, which is about 700 miles further north than where I am, Roger. Yeah, I'll say 3s for now. You obviously can't copy me, so we'll say 3s, and you have a great day. You've got a good signal, and if you get a chance, you want to hear your radio, if you go to YouTube, if you can hear me, go to YouTube later on. We usually take about a couple of days before we can post it up to YouTube, but if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, we'll take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page you'll be looking for my group Aircheck 11/15/19, which is today's date. So it's my group Aircheck 11/15/19. How about it, Tennessee? Did you copy?
Copy. I copy that. The noise level here, for some reason or other, has gone way up from about an S6 to about an S8 in the last 5 minutes, and I have no idea what may be causing that. It's higher than it normally is, but so I guess we probably ought to cut it short here. It's really getting kind of hard to copy you. When you were talking to the previous gentleman, you were 10 over S9. So I guess there's something here that.
Well, that sounded ominous. Kind of cut off in mid-sentence. I'm not sure what's going on, but anyway, what is the name? I've got your call sign as Nancy 4 Alpha Bravo Tango. What's the name, sir? Oh, no copy. All right, 3s, if you can copy me, 3s, and maybe we can get together later when conditions and Mother Nature sober up and we have a better shot at the communicating. This is KC9VKV, and this is the Friday Afternoon QSO-VLOG Network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. There's somebody back there that was calling me. Sir, the last one out, you're probably about 5 seconds in back of everybody else. Try it again with your call sign, please.
W3BJ.
W3BJ, let me write you down here. W3BJ, what's the name, sir?
Okay, the name is John, and I'm located in the state of Maryland, over on the eastern shore, not too far from the ocean, on the Maryland-Virginia line. You're about 40 over 9 here in Maryland. I just got this radio back from the repair shop, the TS940 SAT, about 30-some years old, and seems to be working good. I heard you in here. I wanted to jump in and say hi to you and let you know you got a big signal on the East Coast.
Roger. And the name is John. Good to hear you, sir. That radio you're giving me looks like about a 20 over on my 10-foot vertical mag loop antennas. I'm in the I'm actually in the east-west mode now, so sometimes I have a 3-position rotary switch for my mag loops. One is north and south, one is east and west, and the third position is a co-phase where I put it's a co-phase harness where I can put both of those mag loops together. And a lot of times that co-phase position is 3 to 4 dB hotter than either one of the mag loops by themselves. Roger.
Roger. I heard you talk. I've been listening to you talk for a little while. I heard you talking and sounding good out this way. Operating, like I say, a 940 SAT. Got a homemade vertical that I built myself, 47 foot long. Got it ground mounted with about 10, 12 radials on it. And the microphone is a PR781 Heil.
Roger. Now, I would crank in a couple of dB more top-end EQ. I would add just a little more top-end EQ to try to give it some additional brightness, because, when you're in somebody else's noise, the brighter your audio is, the easier they're going to be able to copy the words that you're saying. They can hear you in there, but if your signal doesn't have some nice, bright content in it as far as the EQ, they're going to hear you, but they won't be able to understand you. So when you add that additional articulation to your audio, they can actually define the words a lot easier. Roger?
Okay, Roger. Well, I'm not set up for that. I just got a, like I say, a 30-some-year-old radio here, and just a straight microphone into it. I'm not set up for that. I can turn the gain up or down. I'm not running the processor at all right now, so I never have tried to run the processor, but this is what I run. I don't have any kind of equalizer or anything in there.
Roger that. Well, your dynamic range seemed to be about 3 dB without the compressor. I would think that you might be running your ALC just a little hot, but it's not distorted at all. So I would say, sally forth, keep on keeping on. Don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Roger. Thanks for the comeback, and enjoy yourself on here.
Roger, John 3 that way, sir. Have a great afternoon. And if you want to hear your radio in a couple of days, go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. And once you're there, that will be our QSO-VLOG page. And you'll be looking for QSO entitled My Group Aircheck 111519. My Group Aircheck 111519 on the KC9VKV YouTube search. Roger?
Roger. Thank you very much.
Roger, 3s. This is KC9VKV and the Friday Afternoon QSO-VLOG Network.
November 4, Delta Juliet, and 4 DJ.
November 4, DJ, come back with a name, please.
Yeah, name here is Don, Delta Oscar November. Name is Don. We're located in Williamsburg, Virginia. You got a booming signal over this way.
Roger, Don. And your signal is great. Also, your EQ is very sharp roll-off on the bottom end. I seldom recommend adding anything to the bottom end, but in your case, I would recommend adding about 2 clicks more bottom-end EQ to kind of mellow that audio out just a tad. About 2 dB additional push on the bottom-end EQ. Roger.
Roger. Yeah, I might give that a try. We're running a K3 here, Elecraft K3. And if I could get the right part of the menu, I could probably do that. We're kind of gearing up to do a little bit of contest work this weekend, so I'm going to get on here with a couple of friends and do some checking later. And I've never done any adjustment of the rig gear other than just set it and leave it. Over.
Roger. Well, as I recall, that K3 has got about a 30 control equalization, much more equalizer than one can talk about radio to radio. It's the one you have to pull the book out and look at it for a while, Roger.
Roger. Yeah, I've looked at it. I've seen the buttons. I was going to do it here pretty soon. I'll probably dig the book out here and maybe try that when I get on with my friends later tonight. So thank you very much for the check and for the tip there. I think the name was the name John? Did I get that right?
You were close. Jim, Juliet, India, Mike. And I think the necessity, if you could take a note here, the push frequency you want to do is probably about 200 cycles plus 3 or 4 dB push at 250 cycles. 3 dB push at 250 cycles, wherever you find that. Roger.
Oh, Roger. Yep, I'll give that a shot. And in fact, I'll pull the book out right now to make sure I'm in the right menu. There's a lot of buttons here. I bought the radio before I was too old to learn to use it. Hi. KC9VKV and 4DJ at Williamsburg.
Roger. Well, there's probably a lot of people that are 100 years old that aren't old enough to figure that radio out. It's got a lot of parameters to it. And how thick, just out of curiosity now, how thick is the owner's manual for that book?
Well, the main owner's manual is not very thick, but somebody wrote a book probably about 3/4 of an inch thick. That's a nice information I have. Wish I had one.
Roger. Okay, and your mic audio is cutting in and out, so you might need a little more Wheaties in your diet on that mic switch, Roger. Yeah, John, did you copy?
Oh yeah, Roger. I reached over and grabbed the book, and I didn't trip the box quite good enough. So I think we're back on now, and I'm going to look it up. If you're on here in a little while, I might give you a call back in and say, hey, is this any better? So anyway, let you go. There's quite a few stations we're calling you there. I think everybody in the world can hear your signal. It's so good. KC9VKV from N4DJ.
Roger. Don, it was?
Roger.
Roger, Don. Yeah, if you would like, once you figure out where it all is, come up on frequency and let me hear you before and after, so I know exactly what you did and I can hear what you did, All
right, I'll do that. It may not take but a couple minutes, but then again, I may get lost. KC9VKV, N4DJ. Thanks a lot.
Roger. 3's that way, sir. Catch you in a little bit, possibly. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you've got a radio that you want to check out, give us a shout. We are recording now, live till 5, KC9VKV.
Kilo Bravo 2, Kilo Delta Yankee.
Kilo Delta Yankee station. Come back again with your call sign.
Kilo Bravo 2, Kilo Delta Yankee.
Kilo Bravo 2, repeat the last.
Kilo Delta Yankee.
Roger, sir. What's the name, please? Kilo Delta Yankee, do you copy?
Roger. The name here is Barney. Bravo Alpha Romeo, November Echo Yankee.
Roger, Barney. And where are you located, sir?
I'm in Grafton, New York, just right up near the Vermont-Mass border, about 20 miles north and east of Albany, New York.
Oh, Roger that. And what radio are you running?
I've got an FT891. Bought it last year. It was just too cheap to pass up. The antenna is a ground-mounted Hustler, 5-band vertical with probably about 10 20-foot radials on it.
Roger. Come back with your radio one more time. You kind of faded out.
Radio's an FT891.
Oh, roger that. Well, you're sounding good, sir. We do have some fading conditions that are going on right at the moment. I'm sure I'm fading to you, but last time I checked, I'm running a co-phase on my two 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, and you were about a 10 over, roger.
Hi, QSL to 10 over. You're 20 over S9 here. You're doing a really great job. You got really nice audio. I've played with the audio on this radio, and I just wanted to talk with someone to see if it sounded pretty good. I've gone through most of the suggestions you've made and listened to it on my monitor, and I think I might have finally arrived there.
Roger, really sounding good. My question is, you have your compressor engaged at about a 3?
I've got it set at about 25 out of 100.
All right, I would squish it up another 5 to make it 30 out of 100, roger.
Okay, hang on, take a second.
Roger. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor. Right now we've got Barney on the line up around New York. He's adding about 5 more units to bring him up to a 30 on his 1 to 100 nomenclature for his compressor.
Okay, I brought it up to 30. Is that doing a little better?
Yes, sir. Now go to your ALC, and with mic gain in hand, adjust your ALC from mid-scale to 2/3.
Yeah, I'm going to do that after we get off the air. This radio is terribly menu-driven. That'll take me a while to pull that one off.
All right, take notes. Once you get to where you can do it, go bring your ALC meter up, and in transmit mode with your hand on the mic gain, adjust the ALC meter to where it runs mid-scale to 2/3, roger.
Okay, I can do that.
And with that, you should be extremely loud, but very finesse as far as the audio is concerned. You won't hear the compressor compressing or the limiter limiting, but you will be running a 3 dB dynamic range with an average peak modulation of between 80 and 85%.
That all sounds like good news.
Yes, sir. You're really close now, and I wouldn't be surprised that you're right now running mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC.
All right, I'll check that out, and if you're still on, I'll try my luck again.
Roger. Okay, it's 3s for now. Have a great weekend if we don't get back together. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. We record live now till 5, so if you want to check out your radio, give me a shout.
Yeah, Jim, N4DJ, I got it.
N4DJ, roger?
Roger. Yeah, I can adjust it now.
All righty, go ahead. Let me see. Right now you're going to add what?
Okay, I am looking at the 200 hertz level, and the 200 hertz level is plus 2 dB, and you said for me to add a couple.
Right. Try 3 dB at that frequency.
Okay, right now it's at 2. Let's see here. Okay, I went to 5. I'm going from plus 2 to plus 5. N4 DJ. 1, 2, 3, 4. How's that sound?
Roger, just took a hit signal-wise. Come back and tell me about the best thing you like about your radio.
Okay, well, the best thing I like about the radio is the way it works on CW. And I've configured it, this sounds awful, I configured it to operate very much like my Omni 6 Plus did that I had before I got to K3. And I don't have to go into the menu very often, over.
Roger. Now you have improved your bottom end. Try one more click boost at that frequency. What frequency was it, 200?
Yeah, roger, 200.
Try one more click boost at 200 from where you are.
Okay, I'm at plus 6. I was at plus 2, and now I'm at plus 6. So this is about as high as I've ever had it, over.
Roger. Well, you were really upper mids pretty much before. Now you do have a little bit of bottom. It's not excessive. It sounds good to me. I would run with it that way and see who salutes, Roger.
All right, yeah, I'll give that a try. Like I say, I've never adjusted it with anybody listening to me before. I just sort of set it. I set it at some recommended level and let it go. The ALC is kicking in about halfway, and I've got the compression that kicks in about 2 little notches too. So I'm hitting pretty light on the compression and maybe mid-range on the AL. Well, not mid-range, close to mid-range on the ALC when I'm talking normally. Over.
Roger. It looks to be that you're running about 3 dB dynamic range, which is absolutely perfect. I would just keep running it just like that. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday. I'd love to hear you, Roger.
Yeah, I might do that now that I know where you are, and I'll check out your YouTube page. You said just search by your call sign.
That's correct. Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor on a YouTube search, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. We're running about 800 some odd QSOs right now, but this one should be on page 1. If not on page 1, definitely on page 2, if any luck, and YouTube is how they normally are, but you'll be looking for a QSO entitled My Group Aircheck 11/15/19, today's date. My Group Aircheck 11/15/19. Roger?
Roger. Well, that sounds great. And yeah, I got a few things on YouTube also, a few antenna things and miscellaneous stuff I put up there. So I'll look for it. I won't hold you anymore. There's a lot of stations in there with good signals, and you're the strongest signal I've heard on the band here today. I don't know why. You must have a pretty good antenna system. 73, Jim, and thanks for the help. KC9VKV from November 4, Delta Juliet.
Roger, Don. Well, you know, we do have those mag-loop, those 10-foot mag-loop antennas, and we did extensive test between AB shootouts between the mag-loops and my normal 40-meter dipole antenna, and I must admit this 40-meter dipole is just perfect. It's a resonant 40-meter dipole. Average SWR is 0.02, so it's really well set up. So the mag loops did have their job cut out for them, and by and large, the dipole did outshoot the mag loops both at the 100-watt level and the kilowatt level. I was using a test target that was about 700 miles away, an SDR receiver about 700 miles away, and so I could see very well what was going on between the two antennas. And like I say, the quarter wave, the full wave, the half wave dipole did outperform the mag loops by and large, and so we did decide to use the mag loops in the receive mode, which they are more effective than the dipole in the receive mode, particularly in the cophase mode, where we have put both of them together through a cophase harness. So 3s for now. This is KC9VKV and the QSO-VLOG network, where we record live now till 5, which we have about 10 minutes. So if anybody wants to get their radio checked out, give me a shout. KC9VKV.
3, Jim.
3, sir.
Kilo 2 Lima.
My. There was at least 10 stations. They were howling like wolves. And the only thing I can say is the loudest one, try again. Could not copy anybody. So what I'm going to do now, that was on my local antenna, so I'm going to move around. I'm going to go to Milford, PA, and see if I can copy anybody on that SDR. This is KC9VKV.
Kilo Echo 0, Tango Japan.
Tango Japan. I walked right into your antenna on the Milford PA SDR. So Tango, come back with your whole call sign, please, sir.
Sign, please, sir.
Kilo Echo 0, Tango Japan, Mark in Minnesota.
Roger, Mark. Gosh, sounds like you're in the studio with me, Roger.
Roger.
Yeah, you too. That's why I stopped. Real strong signal here, about 20 over.
Roger. What radio are you running, sir?
7600 ICOM. I got a 60-foot tower with a hex beam on it and a little amp putting out about 300 watts.
Roger. Sounds really good. And tell me the thing you like best about your radio.
Well, I'm real new at this, but I guess the quality. I bought it from a friend of mine, and he'd been using it for years. He told me it'd be a step up from a starter, so I don't think I'll have to buy another one. I think it'll serve me for as long as I just started the hobby about a year ago. I'm 68 years old, so I think the quality of it.
Roger, Mark. Now, if you would be interested in hearing your audio, if you go to YouTube in the next couple of days, it usually takes us about 48 hours. We want about 48 hours leeway of getting it posted up on YouTube. But if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and you'll be looking for a QSO entitled My Group Aircheck 111519. My Group Aircheck 111519, and just FYI, the Milford PA-SDR seems to be chopping just a little bit, so you'll hear some how should I say, pieces of audio that might be missing from time to time, and it has to do with somewhere between the Milford SDR and my SDR receiver, which is on the internet. Roger?
That's Roger.
Yeah, Roger, I'll do that. If you give me your call sign one more time, I got the KC9.
Roger that. This call sign is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor on a YouTube search. Did you copy that, Mark?
Yeah, let him go ahead with his question.
I didn't copy him at all. I'm on the Milford PA SDR, so I'm just hearing you, sir. I'll get back to my other antenna 3s to you, sir, and we'll catch you later.
Yeah, 73 is due to KE0TTJ, clear with KC9VKV. Clear with 9.
Juliet Tango, sir. I just got back on my local antenna. I was copying the mail up on the Milford PA SDR. So come back and give me your call sign, sir.
Yeah, KC9VKV, this is Canadian station. Victor Alpha 3, Japan Tango, VA3JT, Jim. Over.
Roger, I got it. What's your name there? Roger, Jim. This is KC9VKV in QSO with Victor Alpha 3, Jeffersonian, Juliet. Victor Alpha 3, Juliet. This is KC9VKV. So tell me, how's everything going up in Canada?
Well, we've got snow and a little bit of a freeze today, even though there's about a foot of snow out there. Fixing the antenna, but they're calling for a warm-up, Jim, and of course we usually have a bit of a break in the middle of the snowstorms and like a spring thaw that there's not in the spring anyway. But your 59++, beautiful audio, I've heard you for many years. I'm going to try it today, and there you have it. KC9VKV, Victor Alpha 3, Juliet Tango on an old FT101 Echo.
Roger that, Jim. And I was copying you. It looked to be about 8 to 10 dB above my local noise level on my 10-foot mag loop antennas. Roger.
Roger.
And your audio is, the curve is nice, and it looks to be, you're running about 3 dB dynamic range, so get the Gorilla Tape out and taper down.
For sure. I'm trying to fix the clarifier and get myself on frequency The other rig did have digital. This is back to the old days, but having fun with it, Jim. Over.
Roger. Well, you're pretty close. Sound pretty natural to me. Roger, roger.
Oh, thank you very much. And I have the speech processor cranked up. Go ahead.
Roger. Well, like I say, your dynamic range is about 3 dB, so that's perfect. Your average percent of peak modulation would then be about 80 to 85%. Roger.
Well, Roger, I appreciate that. Yes, I'm just looking at the manual here, how to set the ALC, but if you say that's fine, you know what? I'm going to take it as, how do you say, from the big man upstairs like yourself.
Well, you could look at your ALC, and what you want to be is make sure you're not in the red, but I usually suggest running at about mid-scale to 2/3. If you run your ALC mid-scale to 2/3, you probably will have about a 3 dB dynamic range, which is what you're looking for.
Oh, thank you very much, Jim. Yeah, I wrote that down, and I'll check it later. Take care. Thanks you so much for letting me get in here after all these years. KC9 Victor Kilo Victor, Victor Alpha 3 Japan Tango.
Roger, roger. 3 Steve. If you get a chance, join us next Friday. I'd love to have you. We go live from 3:30 till 5. We record all the time and then post it up on YouTube. So if you want to check out your radio, then give us a shout, and we'll record it and then post it up on YouTube. And you'll find it a couple of days from now on a YouTube search of KC9VKV. This is KC9VKV. We're about to jump into being a pumpkin, so if you have a radio you want to check out, best do it now in the next couple of minutes.
Kilo Delta 9, Charlie Kilo Bravo.
Kilo Bravo station, come back again.
Number 3, Sierra Hotel Mike. Kilo Delta 9, Charlie Kilo Bravo.
Delta 9 station, come back with your call sign slowly, phonetically, please.
Kilo Delta 9, Charlie Kilo Bravo.
Roger, what's the name there?
Name is J, Juliet Alpha Yankee.
Roger, J, and whereabouts are you, sir?
We are in central Wisconsin, sounding good today.
Roger, I just went for an SDR, but I couldn't find anything, so I'll stay on my local antenna. What radio are you running, sir?
This is an ICOM 7200. It's kind of a backup radio, and I just put a piece of wire up outside there just to have something back up for winter here in case the main antennas go down there. So just trying it out today.
Roger, well, what I can hear of it, it sounds pretty good. Roger, roger.
That's what I wanted to hear. It's just a 58-foot long piece of wire there and 100 watts and just a radio with the stock mic. So that's all we're doing today.
Roger, roger. Well, it's making the trip, and so I'd be suspect of changing anything too much until you've got the ability to put up a real good antenna. Roger.
Roger that. Yep, we thank you for the report. So we're just trying to get in there and make sure we're making the trip and everything's working okay.
Roger, roger. What was the name again?
Yeah, J, Juliet Alpha Yankee.
Roger, Jay. If you want to hear what your radio sounds like, in a couple of days, go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and you'll be looking for a QSO entitled My Group Aircheck 11-15-19, today's date. My Group Aircheck 11-15-19. Roger?
Roger that. I will go and check it out. That should be pretty interesting to see.
Roger. We should be able to post that within the next couple of days. So 3's that way, and it is now a couple of minutes after 5, and we have turned into a pumpkin. So while I can still speak, I'll say 3's to all. Thanks for your involvement and checking in. And if you go to YouTube and do that call letter search, KC9VKV, you'll be able to access the QSO-VLOG entitled My Group Aircheck 11-15-19, today's date 11-15-19, and we'll have it posted within the next couple of days. So right now, this is Jim, KC9VKV. We'll say 3's all, and we're clear.
KC9VKV, quick question from N10RW.
Sierra Hotel Mike.
Hotel Mike, stand by just a moment. Other station with a quick question?
Yes, the call is November 1, Ocean Radio Whiskey. Name is Carl, Charlie Alpha Radio London, located in the state of Connecticut, Charlie Tango. Just a quick question, John. I don't know why your call is coming up to somebody else on QRZ. Keeps coming up to with somebody named James in New Albany, Indiana. What am I missing?
You're missing my name. My name is that, Jim. Roger?
Oh, okay, you're in Indiana.
Exactly. We're just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky. We're 3 miles away from downtown Louisville on the Indiana side of the Ohio River. Roger, Roger?
Roger, Jim. Okay, very good. I missed something. I must have heard you refer to Milford, Pennsylvania, and I just couldn't add it up. But thanks for filling me.
Station frequency seniors.
1 Victor Kilo Victor M1 ORW.
Roger. We were talking about the Milford PA SDR. We usually run 4 Internet SDR receivers in addition to our 2 10-foot vertical magnetic loops. We usually are monitoring Milford, PA, Rochester, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, and Alexandria, Virginia. And we do that so some of our 100-watt friends might sound just a tad louder being picked up on an SDR receiver closer to them. Roger?
Roger, Jim. Okay, very good. Nice job. We'll have to stop in here and give you a listen more often. KC9VKV N10RW. Good night.
Good night, sir. 3s. And the other station, go ahead.
November 3, Sierra Hotel Mike, name's Jim in Philadelphia. How you doing today?
Doing well, and let me just, there's somebody else that was tuning up. Please, whoever's tuning up, take it 3K up or down or somewhere other than an active frequency. Do not tune up on an active frequency. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, we've got a great signal up here into Philadelphia today. Milford, PA, and like I say, I'm in Philadelphia here, and we got a great signal, over.
Thank you, sir. We try. Our mantra when we were building this station was 20 over from Montreal to Miami and New York to New Mexico. The New Mexico part is still, the jury's still out on that, Roger.
Hi, Roger. What's the weather like there? You getting any snow or rain or what?
I had some about a couple of days ago, but right now it's pretty nice. It's trying to come up a little bit, Roger.
Hi, Roger. Yeah, it's in the 50s here. Not bad. I just adjusted my, I went into my settings and adjusted my modulation here. How's it sound?
It looks like you're running about 2 dB dynamic range. I would consult my ALC. You might be just pushing your ALC just a tad too hot. What you want to do is run that ALC mid-scale to 2/3, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, I try to get it set close to that. I find out that if I go any lower, my power has a tendency to drop a little bit.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, you want to be mid-scale to 2/3. Just stay out of the red, Roger.
Hey, Roger. Okay, Jim. Have a good day. Thanks for the report. And my name's Jim also.
It's Whiskey 8.
We'll catch you later. And
standby station.
Jim.
Roger, 3's up that way. You have a great weekend, and if you get a chance to join us next Friday afternoon, we start at 3:30, go to 5, recording all the time, and then we post it up on YouTube. So if you want to check it out, go to YouTube and do a call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and we'll have it posted in the next couple of days. You'll be looking for a QSO-VLOG entitled My Group Aircheck 111519. My Group Aircheck 111519. Roger.
Roger.
This is Whiskey 8, Sierra Fox Alpha listening.
Sierra Alpha Fox, yeah, go ahead for a quickie.
Correct. Say again, please.
Go ahead. What's your call sign again?
Whiskey 8, Special Forces Airborne, Sierra Foxtrot Alpha.
Roger. What's the name?
John.
John, Roger, we've got you at about 10 over in Louisville, next door to Louisville, Kentucky. We're actually in Indiana, just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky. Roger?
Roger, you're coming here at about 20 into North Prince George County, Virginia.
Oh, roger that. Well, gosh, good talking at you, sir. We're at the end of our shift. We usually start about 3:30, go till 5, and then we turn into a pumpkin. So I think I'm already into a pumpkin. So let me say 3s for now. If you get a chance, join us next Friday. Maybe check in a little bit earlier, Roger.
Roger. I just had a friend of mine and my daughter's boyfriend out here, and they wanted to see what radio looked like. So let me say 73 to you. God bless America. I'm gone.
Roger. Good sound. We'll catch you later. This is KC9VKV. 3s to all who participated. We enjoyed it. Hope you did also, and will join us next Friday at 3:30 on this frequency. Until then, 3s. So this is KC9VKV, and we're clear.